good, brothers? It's your brother CJ. Welcome to the Divorce and Custody channel for men. Today, let's talk about how men enter and leave a marriage. Now, we talked about how women enter and leave a marriage. So today, let's look at the contrast, the opposite side of that, and what we do as men and the reasons why. So with that said, let's get started. So, Chris Rock said a very provocative statement, which is true. He said, only women and children get unconditional love, but men are only loved conditionally for what they provide and for the length of time that they can provide it. And so this is why when you look at any man, all men are out trying to improve themselves, trying to learn a trade, trying to get a degree so that they can become someone of value, trying to excel in sports, trying to excel in business and entrepreneurship. Men are about becoming valuable and creating a legacy for themselves. And so because of that, the reasons for which they get into marriage are very different from women. And so we're going to explore the first reason why men will choose to get into a marriage and how they get into a marriage. The first, and I believe one of the most important things about man, is every man craves for respect. Respect is the single biggest thing that a man needs in his life, because this is the reason why men excel in business and sports and all of the things that I mentioned before, because we are out to create a legacy and to build a life of success for ourselves. It don't matter what kind of man. Every man, if he has the tools and he has the right environment and the right support structure, wants to be successful. And with those things, any man can become successful, because every man is wired to be able to lead. Now, you're going to see that a lot of men are not able to get there because some men do this thing in reverse. Instead of finding a purpose and becoming a man of value and doing something transformational in their life, they find a wife. And when they find that wife, they're still too young and they don't have any experience. And unfortunately, some of those end up in divorce because the wife lacks these 5 things that men actually look for in a woman. When a man is making some money and he is stable in his life, the things he starts to look for is a wife who is respectful, cooperative, fit, feminine, and who is supportive, a person who is inspirational, and a person who is a helper to him. And so every man craves such a person. But when they find a relationship earlier, a lot of men haven't had this thing defined to them. So they pick out a person based on their desires. And what they don't do is to vet the person for the things that are going to matter in the long term. Now, Kevin Samuels did a great job of teaching on this, and I think being able to listen to those teachings is how I was able to sum those things down as well, to be able to say them so that you could really be able to grasp them in this message. Now, Belle Biv DeVoe said you can't trust a big butt and a smile, right? A lot of people haven't taken heed to this message. You see, a lot of people look for booty and beauty instead of brains, which is what's going to help to raise your children, to procreate, to have a real family, and be able to save your lineage from divorce. But because a lot of us don't come from families where we have a father in the house and don't nobody teach these things, you might find someone who is attractive, but that someone becomes disrespectful earlier in the marriage, and they start to be, condescending. They start to become all the things that are the opposite of what I stated that men actually look for. Now, a man may not have those things defined, clearly, like I said earlier, but every man inherently knows that that's what they seek in a woman. A man is always seeking for peace in a woman. And if he doesn't find that, he will put up with that woman for a while and then he'll leave. That's why you might date someone, ladies, that you might sleep with for a while, and that person sleep with you for 5 years and never put a ring on your finger, and then 2 months later find somebody else and marries that person, is because that person has found an ability to bring that man peace and to bring him respect, to be fit, to be feminine and cooperative. And when a man finds that, it's easy for him to settle down. The next thing is, men are created to lead, and woman is created to be his helper. I know that we might have a problem with that. but that's how a man is designed. And so what happens is when a woman enters into a relationship with a man and she begins to emasculate him, she begins to become disrespectful. What happens to the man, even if he's a poor leader and a man who lacks vision, he knows one thing for sure. He doesn't want to be in that relationship, so he will end that relationship. And that relationship is most likely going to end in a divorce, because a man will not stick around in such environments and conditions of living. It is better to live on a rooftop than to live with a contentious woman. I think we know that scripture. And that's true about man. He may not even be the best man. He may not even be the greatest man in the world. But every man is wired that way. The next thing is when a man finds that he's having issues in his marriage, he may even entertain going for counseling. And he will entertain this so that he can at least bring up the issues that he wants resolved in his marriage. Now, usually women initiate counseling, but men want also to go through counseling because there are things that men can't say to their wives, and wives are easier to come out and say those things because wives are going to continue to speak. But men want a controlled environment because a lot of men don't want to deal with yelling and shouting and the ramifications that come from having those kind of discussions, especially if the other person is not emotionally stable to where they can have mature fights or mature discussions behind those kind of misunderstandings. A lot of men would rather avoid those kind of confrontations. And if counseling doesn't work, a man has no problem staying in a marriage and finding a side chick. Now, I know that I don't endorse that, but you've seen a lot of men who for 20 years have had a side chick, even had a whole family, but were still staying in the marriage and didn't hardly ever raise any issues. But then after they died, you found out they had an entire family elsewhere where they were known as daddy and they were respected and loved. A lot of men don't really want a divorce. That's why 80% of divorces are filed and initiated by women. Men really want peace, they want respect, they want food, and they want to be left alone. And they want sex. That's it. So what happens is when they're not getting these things, and if they don't get them elsewhere and they go through counseling and all of that doesn't work, then a man will initiate a divorce because he sees that there's a lot of disrespect and things are going leftwards, and he sees that his spouse is cheating. That man is likely going to file for divorce because any self-respecting man is going to take that route, right? Because no self-respecting man is going to take back a cheating spouse. I mean, that's just how most men operate. And so when that happens, a man will seek for divorce. So essentially what we've done is we've covered the basics. Men really want three things. They want peace, they want respect, and they want food and to be left alone. Now, the bonuses are for a person who is fit, feminine, and respectfully cooperative. Those are the things that help you to have, like, even if you don't look the prettiest, you will be a 10 in the eyes of a man if you possess those qualities and those skills. All right, fellas, let me know what you think, whether you agree, disagree. You can put that in the comments here below. And also, I have the ebook, The 10 Things Your Lawyer Won't Tell You About Divorce and Custody, which is a really good resource. You can get it in the description below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe and smash that notification bell so that you can get all the videos as we load them almost on a daily basis. In the meantime and in between time, if you want to schedule your one-on-one meeting so that I can coach you through your specific divorce and custody, feel free to email me. That email is in the link in the description here below. And also in the meantime and in between time, CYA, cover your assets.